Okay. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Awesome. So today we are joined by Lawrence Harris, a youth empowerment speaker, resilience coach, and transformational leader who has developed a message rooted in mindset, personal accountability, and emotional clarity. He's not going to hype us up and disappear. He's going to give us some steps, structure, and a great mindset that's going to help us break out of our shells and begin to lead ourselves. Lawrence, for someone who just hit the play button and might not know you yet, why is it why is this work so important to you, and why should someone keep listening?
Well, I could talk about who I am today, you know, the youth empowerment speaker going up on the stages. But where it really comes from is I was 12 years old sitting on this black couch. And one moment I'm full of all these bright ambitions. And the next, my dad blacked my eye. And that led down to a 3-year spiral of losing myself, feeling as if I didn't matter at all, feeling as if nothing could get better. And when your back is up against the wall, as cliche as a phrase as it is, when you feel like you have nothing to lose, you will do anything to feel better. And most people will go down the route of addictions, hurting other people, whether that be physically, emotionally. I hurt a lot of people emotionally. I'm going to be clear about that. But over time, through years of therapy, journaling, and doing the hard work to admit where I was going wrong, I've been able to bounce back from it. And in the process, have helped countless people to also bounce back, to help teens, young adults, especially realize that even when it feels like the world tells you that you don't matter, even when it feels like your family tells you don't matter, you do. You have a place in this world. And that is what I'm here to share with you.
Amazing, amazing. And that, it's very hard, and it really, our childhood is a time that really impacts the rest of our lives. And I heard this great thing from another philosopher, we could call him, that kids are so smart that they don't let these outside factors just completely destroy them, and they come up with some kind of self-defense, whether it's addiction or taking that pain out somewhere else. And then as we get older, that sticks around. It's still a defense mechanism that we just can't get rid of, and that's what harms so many people today.
Yes. It's like, have you ever tried to feed a stray cat?
Yes, yes, yeah.
You ever notice how when you first try to do it, they'll like hiss and scratch and claw and run away from you, even though they want the food? They're doing things that are trying to push you away because they've been hurt before and they don't want to give you the opportunity to hurt them again, even though you're not the individual who did it. Somebody did it. And they'll put everyone into the same box. And people, we often do this very often. You could take a look at somebody who they had somebody steal from them or somebody hurt them in some sort of way. Could have been somebody might have touched them when they were younger, an abusive family member, bad relationship. And it leads them to boxing everyone in together to say all people are going to hurt me because somebody else did. From the outside looking in, it seems very irrational to think that, but they have evidence to prove it. Because in my case, if my dad was the one who did that, anyone could do it. And other people, if this person might have done something to you, anyone could do it. So I speak from having lived it.
So when did you first start to experience that shift of I am fearful, but like this is my calling, I'm ready to go forward with this?
In terms of speaking, I would say that that really came about from I just wanted to get what I had going on up here out. it's like you have a million thoughts racing in your head, and when you write them down or you say them out loud, you can physically remove them and physically get them out. It makes it easier to get through your day. And through that, I'll post these YouTube videos and Instagram clips, and some people would make fun of me. They're like, why are you on this camera venting? Why are you on here being soft and this and that? But then there were other people who would say things like, this video helped me to quit an addiction, or it helped me to realize that I'm not the only one. Or I thought nobody else had problems because on Instagram, everybody's life is perfect. On Instagram, everybody's life is perfect. Everyone a millionaire, everyone got a happy relationship, everybody living a best life. And then you start comparing yourself and realize that, wait, they're showing you a fake version. So my passion for this and the courage to put it out there, even when people judge, even when I was nervous, even when I was afraid of what might happen, it comes from knowing that I can say it in a way that other people either won't say it because they're too concerned about people's opinion of them, or they don't know how to articulate how they feel to someone who can help them. So I realized that I could just be that light for somebody and be who I needed when I was younger.
I love that. How do you start to develop that sense of emotional clarity where, you're like, okay, I have these issues. I might not exactly know how to solve them, but what are some things that I can start doing to try and fix those issues?
First thing I had to do, and I'm gonna put it right here where it's actionable step for people because you can apply this to any area of your life. The first thing I had to do is ask myself why. When I was 15, I was looking in my bathroom mirror, and you know how when you can't sleep, you get those like bloodshot eyes and your skin's all messed up and you just look like you got ran over. So I'm looking into my bathroom mirror and I ask myself, why? Why did he treat me like this? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel like nothing, no matter how hard I try, is good enough? Just why? And then you start getting answers. And we often want to run from the answer because it's not the answer we want, but it's the truth. The truth was, I kept feeling like that for so long, even after already being out of the house. I kept feeling like that for so long because I kept replaying it. I kept feeding it. And that was a tough pill for me to swallow because I'm the one who keeps reminding myself of this. I'm the one who keeps thinking about it. I'm the one who keeps walking around with this anger. Then what I had to do next was figure out, okay, what can I do? You got to calm down. You got to find a way to deal with your stress. Okay, what are some ways I can deal with stress? Go to the gym, write a diary, meditation, get some hobbies. And that you can apply to anything as minor as you got a slightly lower amount of money at your job, or as major as your house burnt down. When you're in that fire, when you're in that stressful moment, you have to figure out what's the cause without adding your feelings into it. What is the truth? Did you play a part in this? What can you do realistically right now? Then you create a plan to find your solutions to the problem. Okay, you're having bad relationship problems. Let's focus on picking better people because the only thing that everything in your life has in common is you. And at that time in my life, everything in my life was messy because I was messy. I had to fix myself before I wanted to fix all the external things. And that amount of introspection and emotional clarity, it comes when you start being honest with yourself. When you start to ask yourself the hard questions and not run from the truth, because the truth is very painful, but it sets you free.
And one of the things that you're touching on is the extreme level of self accountability. Not
Yes.
going, this is broken, it's their fault, it's their
Oh yeah.
fault, but at first you look internally and you go, okay, what did I do? What could I have done better?
Yeah. I used to jokingly, well, half jokingly, tell people that if I ever get hit by lightning, I'll blame myself for standing there. Because when we start, like you just mentioned, it's really easy to blame everybody else for your problems. Oh, I don't have the money because they taking too much taxes. Okay, when you got your money, the tax was already taken out. If I give you $500 on Monday and on Friday you have $0, that means somehow, some way you did something that led you to go from 500 to zero. Yeah, it could have been food, might have been child support, might have been health insurance, might have been life necessities. But even then, it's you played a part in creating the child. You signed that health insurance contract. You did something that led to the outcome that you get. And not to say that we must blame ourselves, but when we make ourselves accountable to everything in our life, now we put ourselves in the driver's seat. If I win, it's my fault. If I lose, it's my fault. I'm not going to blame somebody else when I don't make the basketball shot. No, I didn't make the shot. I'm not going to blame somebody else if I get fired from my job. I did something that led to me getting fired. Oh, but the manager was, they were just picking on me and they wanted to get me out of there. But why? Oh, they just picking on me because they just don't like me. And this happens at every job you go to. Every job you go to. That's possible. It's possible. Highly unlikely though. If you've had 5 jobs and every last manager didn't like you, you might need to try a different place. And when you have that level of accountability to yourself, it's going to have other benefits into your life. Like if you say you want to achieve this goal and you know how to be accountable to yourself, at the end of the night, you have to look at yourself and go, did I do it? Yes, no. Oh, but I didn't do it because this happened and that happened and that happened and this person needed me and that person needed me. You got 24 hours, 8 of them you was asleep, another 8 you was at work. 3 of those hours that you got left, you were spending with family, friends, and people, but somehow you still found time to have 3 hours of screen time on Instagram, but not achieve the goal. And this is how I talk to myself. People say I'm harsh, but this is how I talk to myself. I say it to myself before I say it to somebody else.
I 100% agree with that. Everybody's going to have times where, you might not be working as hard as you want to. We're all human. We're not machines. Sometimes you do want to just sit on the couch and veg out, for lack
Yeah,
of a better term. But at the end of the day, you still have to hold yourself accountable. Like,
yeah,
hey, I didn't get X, Y, and Z done because I didn't have time. Well, if you look back at your day, if you do a time audit, you had time somewhere in that day where you could have gotten things done. So it's either
yeah,
you weren't focused on the right things or you didn't have your priorities straight.
yeah. And I mean, I also want to clarify that there are situations where you can give yourself a pass on things. Like if a major emergency just happened in your life, okay, yeah, it makes sense for you to not go to the gym today. Makes sense. Your grandma just got hit by a bus. It makes sense for you to not go to the gym. You busy mourning her death. I'm not telling people that you gotta be a machine and be a robot and be emotionless. No, feel how you feel. Situations happen, but ask yourself, is this situation actually as bad as it feels? Because it feels really bad when you got to pay your rent. But is that situation as bad as it really feels? And when you mentioned the time audit there, that is what I'm getting at. Because, of course, it's natural for us to have our time to sit back, relax, enjoy, catch up with friends and family. But if you got a bigger priority and you found enough time to spend 3 hours on your phone, but not a single 10-minute session reading a book, that's your priorities out of line. Very much so.
Yeah, I even feel guilty when I'll sit there and scroll and scroll, and I'll, in my head I'm like, hey, you're doing it again, and you got to shut it, find something else to do. But yeah, I definitely feel the same way when I know I'm wasting time, when I know there's something else that I could be doing that's more productive, that's more in line with the person that I want to be. You can
And
feel it.
having that voice in your head that tells you like, hey, get back on track. When you listen to it, it gets louder. When you don't listen to it, it's like, oh, he don't want to hear what I gotta say. Let me shut up. And that's when 2 hours scrolling feels like 5 minutes. But when we listen to that little whisper, it's like, oh, he want to hear what I gotta say. Let me remind him what he needs to do. Let me remind him to stay on track. And none of us are perfect. I'm certainly not. But we can do the best we can today. And your best today won't look the same as your best every day because stuff happens. If you're mourning the loss of a family member, you probably only have like 5 energy points. But if you're having a great day, you got promoted at work and everything's fantastic, you got like 300 energy points. Do the best you can today with what you have today.
I love that. It reminds me of a photo Jim Quick shared, and it had a bunch of batteries throughout the week, so Monday through Sunday. And then each one is filled at different levels. And
Yeah.
it's about having consistency, and showing that consistency doesn't mean you show up 100% every day. It just
Yeah.
means you show up.
Yeah. Have you ever read the book Atomic Habits?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a great book.
Yeah, he mentioned in there that rather than set the goal, like the bar of success, if you don't hit this bar, you'll feel really bad about yourself because you didn't do what you said you were going to do. So imagine if you wanted to start going to the gym. Like you want to build a consistent gym routine. That's the habit you want. Instead of setting the bar at 7 days a week, I'm going to go to the gym for 2 hours a day. Some people could do that. But if you're just starting out, you never touch the weight, you're going to fail immediately. However, if you set the bar very low, 5 days a week, I will step foot in a gym. I will literally just go to the gym, not work out for 2 hours, not work out for 45 minutes. I will go to the gym. Did I go to the gym? Yes, I did. Now, after I consistently gone to the gym, did I consistently touch the weights? Did I do 5 push-ups per day? Yes. And then you build it up and you build it up. And eventually, the thing that is easy for you to do in a year from now would have been tremendously hard at the start. But I don't know if it's the idea of becoming an overnight success or people just want it easy, they want it fast. I don't know why. And keep in mind, I'm guilty of this too. We often want to dive head first in before we even learn how to swim. So we want to become like Arnold Schwarzenegger by summer, but we've never touched a weight a day in our life. Like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym for 5 hours every day. I'm going to go on this insane diet. I'm going to become a doctor in 2 years because I'm going to cram all the college material and do all these crazy study tactics. No, just show up day by day and little by little, you will build yourself up. And If you put in the time and the consistency and you simply show up, you'll get there.
Oh, I love that. It feels like a repeat for me yesterday because I was listening to Jordan Peterson talk, and he's like, you just like you're saying, if you want to go to the gym, you just show up. Just show up to the gym, you know. Maybe 3 days in, maybe you get closer to that weight rack, couple more
Yes,
days, maybe you pick up a weight, slowly just ease into it. Because people set the bar all the way up here when they really just need to start with one. And that's the whole
yes.
point.
And you just remind me of another great point too, like of easing into it. Have you ever seen F1 cars? Oh no, the drag racers, like the ones where they have like a rocket engine on the car.
Hmm.
When those cars drive, they make so much force and energy that if they press the gas longer than 8 seconds, the car explodes. Now, the analogy I'm getting at here is your Ford, your Nissan, your Toyota, your basic normal car can go a lot further for a lot longer than a drag race car. The drag race car could go 0 to 100 in like half a second. 0 to 100. But it burns out and blows up very fast because it's trying to dive head first into the pool without learning how to swim. You're slamming on the gas without learning how to drive the car. So if you just show up and you just ease into it, you just flow with it, you'll get a lot further than the person who had the amazing head start but burns out really fast.
What are some of the, and I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but what are some of the most important habits, aside from working out, that you think have led to the mindset and the place that you're at now, where you can pick up on that inner voice that everybody may not be attuned to?
Journaling. That one, like that inner voice, if you just journal, it'll by nature become more present with you. Some people call this the voice of intuition, other people call it the voice of God, spirit, higher power, universe, whatever. It's a real thing, though. You're even just on a completely scientific, biological level, you have an intuition. It's been proven. When your gut tells you, don't trust that person, listen to it. Your gut is almost never wrong. Now, other habits other than journaling and exercise, because with the exercise, it's not just about weightlifting. You could go for a walk, a run, swim, bike. Physical activity improves the function of your brain because when you sweat, it pushes toxins out of your body. It also improves confidence. It builds resilience. It shows you that I can do hard things even when I don't feel like doing it. Good habits. There's so many transferable skills that you get from a consistent exercise routine. Journaling also helps with communication skills because you have all these thoughts and all these ideas and all these things cluttered up here. When you write them out, you have to figure out how to clarify what you think into what you write down. And then from there, you can clarify what you write down into what you say. And then from there, you become better at all three. So on the spot, when people ask me questions in an interview, I have such great answers because I've done this for not just podcast interviews, but journaling since I was 15. Another great habit is be mindful of, now I know this is hard. Trust me, I know it is. But be mindful of how what you eat really does affect your mental clarity. Carbs. Obviously, I'm no health, expert, but what I have at least found for me personally is if I eat carbs in the morning, I have intense brain fog. So be mindful of how you treat your body, be mindful of how you treat your mind, and be mindful of what you put in yourself.
I think that's great. One of the things that I've always done is always drink water. It's pretty much
Yeah.
water, coffee. I don't drink alcohol anymore. Um, but I've
Another,
noticed, huh?
I'm just gonna say another one that just popped into my head because when you mentioned, I just remember you mentioned Jordan Peterson,
Hmm.
and this is something he wrote in. It's like the first chapter of one of his books. Make your bed because it's where you wake up. It's where you go to sleep. You spend about one third of your entire life in your bed. So imagine spending one third of your life in a cluttered, junky, unclean environment in your most sensitive state, in your most defenseless, calm, meditated state. If you're in that, naturally you're going to start to pick up junkier habits, junkier ways of seeing the world. Your mind and life are going to be cluttered. And if you have a messy bed, you probably have a messy room. And if you have a messy room, you probably have a messy house. And if you have a messy house, you're going to end up having a messy life. So be mindful of your physical environment too.
Oh, I heard he was in the Navy. I don't remember what rank he was, but he was a high ranking official, and he said the same thing. You know, first thing in the morning, first thing you do, make your bed. It's an
Yeah,
easy win.
it was a guy like on a podium giving a speech.
Yeah. Hmm.
I think I saw that clip.
Yeah. And you know what? After that, I was like, you know what? How hard is it to make your bed? The next morning,
Yeah, they
I might not have made my bed, honestly. It probably took me 2 or 3 days to actually sit down and make my bed. But after I did that, I was like, what else can I do? You know, I just knocked
yeah,
out one hard thing really early in the morning, got my first win in. Like, I'm on a winning streak. What else can I just knock out and keep this momentum going? Because that's going to give me
yeah.
energy throughout the day.
And that momentum too is huge because especially with social media, it's really easy to start to compare. Let me just plug my laptop charger in real quick. It's really easy to begin subconsciously comparing your wins and what you have to what somebody else has. And there's always somebody with a bigger bag on the internet. There's always somebody who has it better. There's always somebody whose life from the outside looking in looks better. And that can lead you to losing sight of how far you've come, losing sight of your momentum, minimizing yourself because somebody else portrayed this grandiose image. So, a great habit too is as silly as it might sound when you start this, just out loud say you love yourself. Just you gotta out loud say it because there's so many things out there, people, places, things that are trying to limit you and box you in and say you can't because no one in your family did it. You can't because of how you look. You can't because of your weight. You can't because you don't have this degree, or you can't because of all these other things that, when you really break it down, are irrelevant. So just remember how far you've actually come in your life.
That's huge. That is absolutely huge
Thank you.
because, you know, nowadays in society, we live in a place where we want instant gratification. You know, that's the reason why we're so hooked to these devices, is because these companies are purposely doing this to keep us scrolling, to keep us doing this. And that's, you know, I started this entrepreneurial journey that I'm on about 2 years ago. And I did spend a lot of time on social media. And now I'm at the point where it's like, because I was comparing myself to everyone else's 30, 40, 50 the chapter when I'm over here on chapter one. You know, I've just picked
Yeah,
up the pen. They've been writing their story for X amount of years. And I'm like, well, why aren't I as good as that person? Like, what's wrong with me?
yeah. But here's the thing, though. It's nothing that's wrong with you or wrong with any of us. It's that, all right, think of it like this, right? If I wanted to convince you that I had $10 million in the bank, all I need is $2,000. Here's how I do it. You can go on Airbnb, rent a mansion for an hour for like $500. So now I'm down to 1,500. I can go rent like 2, 3 Lamborghinis for $600. I could pay some like Instagram models to be in the background. I could give my friend $50 to record the video, and then I could send that off to like an editor, and then use the rest of that money for Instagram ads. Now you think I got $100 million, all off of 2,000, or even crazier. You know how easy, well, how perfect these fake Rolexes actually look.
No, I don't.
Exactly. And if I'm not there with the diamond tester, I don't know if you're using a fake diamond tester. So especially as entrepreneurs, we start comparing our thing to somebody else's. Like you just said, you compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 50 and start thinking like, man, am I doing something wrong? Like they making $20,000 a month. I'm over here making 200 a month. And you start to minimize yourself because somebody else is, for one, it's real easy to get on the internet and lie. Very easy. Very easy. Two, you don't know what they might have done, because I don't minimize anyone's success. But we do got to admit, some people did get lucky. Or you don't know if they got a handout. Not to me personally, if somebody offered me the money, I'm taking it. If you offer me $1 million, no strings attached, I'm taking it. I don't have no pride with taking handouts. But you don't know what happened with them in the dark. You might not even know the struggle they went through to be where they are today. All you know for sure is you. All you know about them and what they tell you.
Absolutely. And it's another thing that, after I pulled myself back from social media and started listening to more of myself, it came from the realization that hey, great, these people might have gotten lucky, they might have done X, Y, and Z, whatever excuse you want to use. But even if it's true, it doesn't serve me and where I want to go. And so at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I had to realize that, sure, I do want that monetary gain that they're showing, but am I happy internally?
Oh yeah.
Am I in equilibrium?
Oh yeah. Actually recently, I believe it was in Pennsylvania. There was just like a billionaire here, he got all this money, right? He got all this money, billions of dollars. With billions of dollars, you could literally buy whatever you want. Like, there's very few things you cannot buy with $3 billion. That's what he had. Obviously not 3 billion liquid cash, but they got ways of getting whatever they want, right? You could get a yacht, you could get a mansion, you get a dancing monkey, you get anything. And one day out the blue, he just jumps out the window of his office and, killed himself. Why? He was super depressed. He hated his whole life. No, but he got all the money. He got all the shiny stuff. Yeah, but he don't love himself. And when you got this mansion, and I tell people this, I have nothing against you going out there and pursuing your money. Get as much money as you want. Get all the shiny stuff. If you want to go buy a Rolex, go buy a Rolex. If you want to go get a super yacht, go get a super yacht. But before you do that, ask yourself, am I doing this thing and trying to get this money and get this object because of how it's going to make me look to people? Or am I doing it because I already love myself and I just so come happen to like big boats? If you like big boats, go get it. But there's so much comparison about what the next man got or what the next woman got, and how people then start to try and one up each other and say, nah, your business only making 200,000 a month. I'm making 50 million a month. It's like if I gave you $100 million, would you feel rich? Like,
At
that's
a
a genuine
monetary
question.
level, yes.
Yeah, like just on a money level. If I gave you 100 million, you'll be like, man, I got a whole lot of money. That is great. Now, go compare your 100 million to Elon Musk's 400 billion. He loses more money in a day than you make in a lifetime. That's just a money fact. He loses more than you make, and he don't even notice it. So you start looking at him, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, oh, what? Like he's so much farther ahead of me." But you start to forget where you came from, and you start to forget how good you're doing. It's like having a car. You got a Nissan, comparing yourself to the Bugatti, but the guy in the bike, he wishes he had the Nissan, and the guy walking, wishes he had the bike, and the guy in the wheelchair, wishes he had legs. Everybody trying to compare themselves to each other to look up rather than looking within, because if you don't got you, you're going to end up like that billionaire who jumped out of his office because he was like, I got all this stuff, but I don't love me. I got all these people around me, but they're around me because they know I'm a billionaire. So they trying to get their money. I got this person who married me, but coincidentally, they married me after it became a known fact I'm a billionaire. So you can't trust nobody. You don't trust yourself. And it's even though I'm not very religious, I have recently gotten into the Bible, and I'm at that part where they mentioned seek ye first the kingdom of God. What that really meant is go within, love yourself for what's in here, because if you fall in love with the world always got something out of reach. They always got that carrot to dangle in front of you and keep you running on the treadmill like those horses in the cartoon. And you get the Rolex. You're like, yeah, I got that Rolex on. I'm flexing on everybody. But then they go drop that Rolex premium with the diamonds in it. You're like, oh no, this isn't good enough. Let me go spend the rest of my life chasing this validation on the outside rather than just loving me. And that's the painful thing that a lot of people fall into, because it's so great that you mentioned having become mindful of the fact, oh, I'm starting to compare myself to somebody I don't even know. I'm comparing myself to these people. These people over here comparing themselves to me, and we all just chasing after one another. So you gotta. It's great that you mentioned it too. That you unplugged from social media for a bit, got right with yourself, and then went back out onto it with a healed and full mindset.
Absolutely. Now I can scroll on there and go, oh, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah,
You guys are winning. I love that.
yeah, and that's a great sign. Like I don't know how to put this, but something that I deeply respect and value in people is when they can clap and celebrate for a stranger's wins. Like if the person online, they business is booming and they t-shirts is selling and they merch, and you like, yep, good job. I love this. I love to see it right there. Because if they could do it, that means I could do it too. Maybe not in the same method, but it means that money is flowing. And all I got to do is give myself a piece of the pie. And then the gratitude and love and support that you show other people, it gets reflected back at you.
So jumping back to the billionaire for a second, he has all the money, he has all the things, but he's just not happy. How do you go about finding the thing in life that's actually going to make you happy? Do you think that he could have just, instead of doing what he did, taken himself and gone, maybe I'll just give away all my money. Maybe I'll just give it to charity, give it to my mom, give it to my children or something like that. And maybe I'll just go live in the middle of the mountain or be a monk or something like that. Maybe I'll just go find myself. Do you think there's a kind
I
of
mean,
course correction?
some people that is what they decide to do, but it really comes down to what you individually want and need. And the only person who can answer that for you is you. So it's actually, this is what I did. Before figuring out what I liked, I figured out what I don't like. I don't like parties. I don't like going out late. I don't like doing all this stuff. Okay, so I don't like that. That's not me. Okay, what else is not me? I like, I like shoes, but I don't really care for huge designer labels. I don't really care. I need shoes that are wearable and comfortable, but aside from that, I don't care. I don't care. Okay, so I'm not going to be at Jordan spending $250 on a pair of Nikes. That's for other people. That's just not me. And over time, you start to peel back the layers. You try random stuff, like just trying random stuff and figuring out, oh, I like this. I don't like this. I really, really love fishing. The way I figured this out, I randomly tried it one day. I saw that there was a free fishing event in my city, and I was like, let me go to that. And I went to that and I fell in love with it. I know what I like because I know what I don't like. And for the situation like that billionaire, that's a bit more specific too, because when you factor in being like hugely known, like you go outside and you're recognized, um, you have this image to uphold, people aren't necessarily out to get you, but it's a known fact that Drake has millions and millions of dollars. So there are people out here trying to hunt down Drake to get his money. So for that guy, which I think what he should have done, as simple as it sounds, is before he got all that money, figure out what he liked. What makes me happy? What kind of people do I want to be around? What hobbies do I like? Do I like to garden? Do I like to go horseback riding? Do I like to paint? Do I like to write poetry? What do I like? Not just the things I like because I was told to like it. Because growing up, I was told to like basketball. I was told you got to play basketball. You got to like basketball. I don't like it. I hate it. That's for other people. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to play it. I don't want to do none of it. I want no parts of it. I like fishing. And you have to also have the strength and courage to not bend yourself to what other people and to what the world wants you to be and just stand on who you are. Love me or hate me, what you see right here is what I am. You see what you get. Yeah, now if you're around me and you like my close friend, I might crack jokes with you. I might, there's different behavior, but I'm still being authentically Lawrence. So for that guy, what he should have done is just first off, I mean, therapy too, because if you feel like you're gonna hurt yourself, therapy is a great option for that. Especially if you got billions of dollars, you can afford therapy. It's the cost isn't the problem. Finding one isn't a problem. They have better help. They have hotlines. They have like walk-in clinics. They have hospitals. Help is available. You just got to be willing to ask. They have open doors 24/7. They don't lock those places. So I hope that answered that question because his situation was a bit more unrelatable since almost none of us are billionaires.
Bit of an extreme example.
Yeah, it's like if you're a billionaire, there is that comes with different challenges because now you're like a known face and it's one thing if you're like a quiet billionaire. Like imagine the guy who owns Bitcoin. He's a quiet billionaire. Nobody knows who that guy is. Or if you blend in perfectly, like Mark Zuckerberg. He blends in very perfectly. The only reason we recognize him is because we see him everywhere. But for your average person, like let's just say you have under $5 million in the bank. You're not on Instagram posting money spreads. You're not making yourself a target, is what I'm saying. You're not making yourself a target. Simple as it sounds, just figure out what you like, figure out what you don't like, figure out how you like to dress, how you don't like to dress, what kind of car you like, what kind of car you don't like. Do you even want a car in the first place? I don't. I don't want a car because convenient purposes and the amount of mental energy it takes to maintain a car. So just understand you. And that's a hard process because you have to understand the good, but also understand the bad. And then realize that, hold up, the bad stuff isn't actually bad. I would just put it was. Like you might have an issue with anger management. You might be getting real mad at people. Now imagine if you took that anger and that fire and that aggression and that ruthlessness and you put it towards something constructive, such as a business. You have burning ambition to make this business successful. Or the gym. You're in that gym throwing up 250. Um, or you put it towards community outreach, like you're a really passionate pastor, or you do prison reform, or you're going into the schools and helping to reform the education system. Know who you are and don't back down on who you are. That's the solution for most problems.
I think that's great. And I mean, going back to what you said about not bending to people, I think when you're searching for that purpose, for that driver for you, I'm going through a similar situation now where it's like, I want to go do something else, but this is the place I'm in. And sometimes you
Mm,
just have to learn that you need to have those tough conversations and don't let those people's opinions of you influence what you want to do for the rest of your life.
yeah. Um, and that's something I've gone through a lot in my life too, because naturally your family, your friends, the people you grew up around, people in your community, they're going to have an opinion. Most of them, though, as harsh as it sounds, are not qualified to give their opinion on said thing. They're allowed to have an opinion, but they're not qualified to give counsel on that thing. And when you decide you want to pivot and not bend and not allow people to overly influence you, you're going to come across as harsh. You're going to come across as, oh, he think he's full of himself. He think he all that. But watch when you get successful, those very same people will call you a genius. They did it to every single person through history. Nikola Tesla, Steve Jobs, Moses, um, every last person you can think of. They all went through that same thing where they write history books about the people who refuse to bend. The people who refuse to bend are the ones who are upholding society. Construction workers, engineers, doctors, lawyers, Kobe Bryant even. Everybody sees Kobe Bryant, RIP to him, as man, he achieved so much great things. Oh, he got all these trophies, all these awards, great family man. This man got it all figured out. His wife used to complain that he'd go to the gym for like 15 hours a day. He spent more time practicing in the gym than he did with his wife. The irony, though, is because he spent more time in the gym than with his wife does not have a job and has so much money left that they could live off of that until they were 70, spending $1 million a year. All because this man refused to bend and back down from his calling. So when we're making these pivots and adjusting, it really just comes down to us looking back on ourselves and going, okay, this person might be giving me advice to try and help me, but Of course, don't block yourself off to everyone and everybody because I've gotten some really good advice from homeless people actually. Just have a filter where you go, okay, is this actually useful, relevant, and worth considering? Because somebody who never made $1 million cannot teach you how to do that. It's the unfortunate truth. They cannot teach you how to do it. Now, then you also have to consider how everyone's going to have an opinion, but not everyone's opinion matters. Like recently, I created a course on resilience and how to become more resilient, build a stronger mindset, and imagining the life that mattered the most to you. I've had people tell me, "Oh, we're not listening to him. He's 19. We're not listening to you. Ah, this, all that." Whole time, I get paid to talk, so I think I'm quite good at what I do. And then beyond just that, looking at how far I've come, how far I'm going, and the fact that I don't just make it all about me. As much as I am talking on this interview, I don't make my mission just all about me. It's about helping other people too. So to add a bit of value to what you just said there about you wanting to make this pivot, understand why do you want to make that pivot and that what you've done so far has gotten you to here. But if you want to go somewhere different, do something different and have a different life, it will require different things.
Require getting uncomfortable and experiencing really really uncomfortability, putting yourself in a lot of those situations where your heart starts beating out of your chest. You can't really think straight, and just getting used to it,
Yes.
acknowledging the emotions that you're feeling, maybe labeling anxiety or yeah, anxiety is a good one. You could change that to, hey, I'm feeling excited, I'm not feeling anxious.
Oh,
So
yes.
relabeling emotions.
Yeah, because emotions are just energy, kind of like lightning, your microwave, and your phone. They're all just electricity and energy used in a different way. You might be, like you said there, you might be feeling anxious, you're nervous. I got this test coming up, this job interview, this business, um, this transition in life, this marriage, whatever it is. I'm anxious, I'm nervous. Well, I'm just excited. I just have overwhelming emotion. I'm just fired up for this thing. I am electric for this thing. That's how you can redefine it.
I love that. So, Lawrence, where do you see yourself going in the next 3, 5, 10 years?
I would say in the next 3 years, okay, so in 3 years, I'd be 22. I'd be living in my own apartment overlooking the beautiful skyline of my city. I've actually picked out the building. It's so beautiful. It's right next to my office, actually. 5 years from now, I will be 24, traveling the world, doing speeches, selling my products, going in into schools, which, I mean, technically, I'm already doing most of this. It's just doing it at an even higher level. 10 years from now, I'd be 29. Huh. Really, it's kind of hard to explain my 3, 5, and 10-year goals because it kind of feels like I've beat the game. I'm just doing side quests now. But 10 years from now, I would definitely want to have like my own. I think creating a school would be a good idea. Kind of like a school or my own summer camp where we teach the stuff that I teach. We build young entrepreneurs. We help people to build their resilience, community events. I actually have a friend who we met because she saw one of my TikToks and said, "Hey, I want to interview you for my podcast." And we just stayed friends ever since. She is working on like a online community where people join in and for like $5 a month, they pay to be a part of her online community where they have Zoom calls and they do art projects together. It's such a cute thing. Um, and she's still building it up. And but she got her website, she got the business license. She's really taking action and making some stuff happen. So, if me and her are still friends in 10 years, which most likely we will be, we build like a community center. That'd be great. Open up some mental health clinics for kids where not just for like the emergency situations, but putting therapy and resources in the community and promoting it. Because I've often found that there is a overwhelming push for violence and death and anger and all these things are destructive, but such little promotion of, hey, let's go work on our inner self. Let's learn how to meditate and journal and as simple as let's learn to stop fighting each other and instead talk out our problems. Because yeah, he stepped on my shoe. I don't know who he think he talking to. Oh, this, oh that. Oh, he put his hands up. Oh, he about to hurt me, so I'm gonna swing on him first. No, he put his hands up because he's gonna say, "Sorry, man. I actually stepped on your shoe. I didn't mean to. I was looking down at my phone and didn't realize." So making some big impacts directly on the community, directly on the schools, on the students, on the organizations, and living my life, enjoying myself, making a good impact on the world. That's my 10-year goal. Save humanity.
I love that. That's fantastic. Giving back to the community. For someone who might be listening, and I know we talked about a lot today, but for someone who might be listening and they're like, "Ooh, I wish you would have just talked about this one thing." What do you think that thing would have been?
Okay, first thing that just popped into my head is love yourself without all the stuff. Okay. So I'll put it like this. You know when dudes get a haircut, we walking outside with our chin up, chest out. Mm, we just strutting. That $40 haircut got you feeling like you Jay-Z. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a great thing. That's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful to have that confidence and that drive and that I'm him kind of energy to you. But you got to think you're him even when the world and the finances and the housing situation and the lack of car and the unemployment, when all that stuff is there, you got to operate mentally like you him because you're going to be. So live like that right now and remove people, places, and things that try to tear you down. Them family members, them friends. Oh, but we've been friends in third grade, man. Ah, that's Marcus from the playground. Marcus from the playground was good for you when you was in third grade, but you try to bring third grade into 30-year-old. That's not supposed to happen. And don't box yourself into just being one thing. Because see, there's things where like, people love what they do. Like you're a car mechanic, but you love being a car mechanic. Like this is your passion. You are the best mechanic in your city. You take pride in this. Great. I'm referring to people who box themselves in and say, nah, man, I'm from this neighborhood. I look this way. My family been living like this. So I gotta live like this. What kind of sense that make? If let's say my the ages of my family members. My mom's in her 40s. When my grandpa was alive, he was in his 70s. He was born in 1942. His dad was born in the 1800s. Okay? So we do the math here. Oh, because my mom, who was born in the 80s, lived like this, I gotta live like this. Because my granddad, who was born in the 40s, lived like this, I gotta live like this. Because my granddad's dad, who was born in the 1800s, live like this, I gotta live like this. Because his dad, who was born in the early 1800s when slavery was still a thing lived like this. I gotta live like this. So when we box ourselves into, I'm from here, so I gotta be like this. My family live like this, so I gotta live like this. My opportunities, this person, that person, all these people, what they said, what somebody said on TikTok, what somebody said on Instagram, what the news saying about me. When you box yourself into that, you're mentally keeping yourself in slavery without the chains. Most of the time, we are slaves to this boxed image that has been pushed upon us when the whole time all you got to do is turn the key in your head. It's hard to do because it's so much trying to push it down your throat. But you notice, mm, this friend always got something negative to say about me. They'll go spend $200 at Gucci or Nike, but they're not buying none of my t-shirts. And you're not entitled to them supporting you. You're not entitled to that. Because if your clothes don't look good, your clothes don't look good. That's the truth. But if you've been pushing these t-shirts for years, you've been working hard, you've been doing this, and they can't post your brand, like they can't throw a picture up on a story, they can't tag you, they can't, it don't cost nothing to put up a post. So when you know that you got people around you who they pushing you down, they saying, why you doing that? Why you being weird? Why this? Why that? Come be with us. And all of them is bums, you're gonna have to cut them people off. Them places. I know everybody, they go to these vices for a good reason. The reason you want that bottle is because you stressed. You just trying to find a way out. You just want to feel better. That's understandable. But you got to realize that it's better ways to handle our problems than resorting to that bottle or to resorting to that person you ain't supposed to be dealing with or resorting to spending 5 hours on the video games or scrolling for 10 hours a day. It's better ways. You got to remove those people who holding you back. You got to remove them places. You can't be going to that bar every day. You can't be going to that club. You can't be doing these things. And I'm not saying it to judge nobody. I'm saying it because I love you. And lastly, when you remove them things, that's some bad habits. You might have to, go to Alcoholics Anonymous. Some people they need to do that. Not judging. I'm saying it out of love for you because I done seen a whole lot of people go down that path. Or you might need to remove the TV out your room. I used to play video games for 5 hours a day. I took the TV out my room and have not had a TV for the last 2 years. It sounds extreme, but when you want to grow, when you want to make real lasting impact in your life, real lasting change, and give your family, give your friends, and ultimately give your community and the world the person that you were destined to be, you got to get extreme about it. That's that's what I got for you.
Do you have the power to choose wisely? And I love what you
Oh
said
yeah,
about the gaming. You gotta, if you have a habit
yeah,
that you don't want, like when I wanted to stop gaming because I was the same way. I played games my entire life. I still like I still like to play every now and then, but I'm not going to spend 8 hours. And so what I did was I unplugged the Xbox. I moved the cord one place. I took the batteries out of the controller. The batteries went one place. The controller went another. So if I wanted to play, it
oh
was
yeah.
like, oh, now I got to go get this. I got to go get that. I might as well just do
It's like,
this.
yeah. And that's the reason why, like, when you make it so hard to do the bad thing, you start to realize that, hold up, the good thing is actually kind of fun. Like, this is okay. Reading a book to most people is very boring. I want to go watch TV. Okay, now let's say you can only watch TV in your bedroom, but you put your TV in your basement. So you have to carry a TV from your basement up the basement stairs, through the house, up the stairs, into your room, plug it in, find somewhere to put it, do all this stuff. You're gonna be like, you know what? Let me pick up this book. Let me pick up the book. Because by the time I get the TV, I don't even want to watch TV no more. And when you mention us having a choice, we really do. We're really good at making excuses for the choices that we know we shouldn't have made. Oh no, man, it's only a little bit. It's only one round. It's only one. It's only a little bit. Who do you know only plays one round of video games? I don't know any. Who do you know go to a party or something and only take one shot? Who do you know get a whole pack of cookies and only eat one cookie? I don't know. But that one, you thought, man, it's only one. It ain't that bad. That turned to two. That turned to three. And before you know it, you right back in the very same place where you know you got no business being. That could be a physical place. That could be an emotional place. That could be a mental place. That could be a habit. It could be a vice. You've been 28 days sober. Your friend said, nah, man, come. Hang out with us. It's only one shot. Now you're right back. So we got to get extreme sometimes.
That's all it takes. Well, Lawrence, this has been a great conversation. Where can people go to keep up with you, find out more about what you're working on?
As far as keeping up with me, my Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, Lawrence C. Empowers. Keep it very easy and simple for you. My website, lawrencecharris.com. And if you want to keep up with me, my DMs are open. I'm not going to respond to you the same day, get a lot of them. But if you come respectful and you come proper, I will, at the minimum, say thank you.
Y'all heard it here first. Y'all heard it here first. Lawrence, this has been awesome. Guys, go give him a follow on his social. Go say thank you if you got some value today. Like, subscribe, share this episode with a friend because you know somebody needs to hear it. And we will see you in the next one.
Have a blessed day.